This conference will now be recorded.
This is FRE24's 2019 facility plan meeting with the school facilities, or I should say the state construction department, school facilities division, and we'll introduce ourselves first.
Hi, I'm Raj Dami. I'm the accounting analyst here, and Amber and I have been kind of collaborating with some of Charlie's work since he's gone to Plat 1, so I'm helping out with this whole process, mostly pertaining to AIM.
Okay, I'm Troy Decker, planning. My primary role is quality control, make sure that our facility plans meet all state statutes, rules, and regs, and then make sure that we capture everything we need to, both from the district's perspective and the state's perspective, in order to report to the commission and to the select committee, and to prepare for budgets on an annual basis. And Amber's laughing at me, so I won't say anymore.
You know, our list keeps getting longer and longer if you let it.
Yeah, that's right.
Amber Leach with planning on the school facility side. My role in this is to work with the districts in preparation of the documentation for today's facility plan meeting.
I'm Steve McDonald. I'm your new project manager for the Northwest region, and I look forward to getting up and seeing you guys within the next couple of weeks, maybe taking a look at your new school and stuff. So I look forward to meeting you guys and working with you.
Great. This is Kay Watson. I'm the business manager at Shoshone, FRE24. Right now, that's all you have. Hopefully, we have a couple more joining us. I'll let you know when they do.
Thank you, Kay. So you can see our screen and our video camera.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. Sometimes we have streaming difficulties, so just wanted to let you see our smiling little faces on this Wednesday morning.
Okay.
With that, then, we're going to go ahead and get started. As you well know, sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight Bruce's name and Lane's, and Charlie Kaufman isn't even here anymore, so we won't worry about that. Did you know Charlie took the business manager position in Plat 1?
Yes, I did. I actually visited with him at WASBO Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. Well, he's going to miss us. That's all we've got to say. or not. So yeah, we're kind of excited for him. I know that he's been looking for that position for a while, and so I think he's going to do a great job. And it sounds like you guys have a lot of support at the business manager level.
Yeah, we do. It's a great group.
That's great. All righty. So I kind of highlighted some names there. I will get rid of Charlie's name since he's no longer here. And then Brandon may come in and Paul may come in. I'll keep those highlighted. And then at the end, if these various people don't come, then we'll go ahead and remove them. So as you well know, I think we've refined the facility planning process quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 years. But every once in a while, we have the governor's office ask for a facility plan. Periodically, not very often, a legislator or two. And so what these facility plans really are a very succinct understanding. Someone can pick up one of these, read through it in 5-10 minutes, and have a pretty good understanding of what the district is and where they are facilities-wise. And that's why we do so many visuals in these. The other reason we do visuals in these is because we used to go in, if you recall the old days, go into the AIM database, we'd look at each property profile, we'd try to update them. And so we've kind of put that on the front end of these facility plans so that when we get into this time, we're talking about the important things and that those details of updating the database stuff have already been done. So appreciate you working on the front end with Amber to do that.
Sure.
So a couple of years ago, last year and this year, we've went out to the county GIS sites, if they have them, websites, and updated all our land and ownership and stuff. So we know we have really good data on that. But here's just a Google Earth picture of your beautiful new school and the properties you own, somewhat. You own a little bit more. So as you well know, verifying the accuracy of your acreage is important because it affects your WDE block grant payment, impacts your groundskeeper allowances. So thanks for doing that. Land disposition, I know that you've been presented and back in, let's see, I think I have that, whoops, pulled up. Back in June of 2018, you guys came before the commission to sell some land on your old school site.
Right.
So one of the things we need to do is that's going to take a little bit of time this morning, but you did receive approval to do that, and you've sold lots 1 through 3, block 16, West Side addition in January of 2018. We are in the process of entering into a contract for a swap with some general. The rest of the old property, this project should be completed. Okay, so I guess my question is, so this is kind of a excerpt of your June 2018 approval. So my question of you, Kay, is this still following I know you've sold some or whatever, has something changed that is not specific to what happened here that needs to go back in front of the commission because it's not the same deal? So let's kind of talk about that. I assume you still have the same properties up for either sell or swap. Is that accurate?
So let me just give you a little bit of a rundown. In, I believe it was August of 17, we sold some of the lots, and I think that was on our facility plan last year.
Okay.
And then we sold these 3 lots in January of 18. Bruce went originally to the commission to dispose of all of the property way back when, however many years that's been. Got permission and everything to do that when we couldn't sell it, and we advertised and advertised and advertised. Had a couple offers that fell through for various reasons. And so this deal came up. And so how it's supposed to work, and we're working on a contract with this company right now, they're wanting to trade us for our old property. We need a new concession stand, crow's nest, restroom facility by the football field and track. So they are proposing they build that for us. We've had the architects design that, and the fire marshal has approved the plans, and we are moving forward with that. I'm working on an AIA document with them right now. The plan is that they will get all of that old property at the end of the project, with an additional $52,000 of our general fund money.
Okay.
Okay, so they'll get the $52,000 right as soon as they get the framing package. Part of the property will be deeded over to them mid part of the project, and then all of the rest of it will be deeded over to them at the end of the project.
So
we did take that to the commission, talked a little bit about what that was, how that was going to look. So you can see here on that where it says the exchange, the remaining portions and everything else, he did go back with the commission's approval for us to do that.
Okay, so all right. So that's what I wanted to understand is you guys, you kind of maybe taken a little bit different course, but yet at the same time, it's the same agreement as in either you sold property or you're exchanging it in order to build the crow's nest. In principle, it's still the same idea. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that would be, yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. I can get rid of all my other notes then. I don't need to do all this other stuff.
Yep.
I think we just pulled the trigger in terms of what we changed that information out too early on our side.
Yeah, and so I don't think that statement is correct. We were able to follow through with all of this with the commission. I mean, the commission has approved us doing this with this local builder to construct the crow's nest storage building and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, thank you.
And then finalization of land transfer is yet to occur, though, right?
Wait until the building and everything else is completed and accepted by us. So again, in that August, September timeframe, somewhere in there.
And once you get that completed, you'll do also the AIM update form so that we can have that reflect an AIM, correct?
Yes,
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
One too many twos there, I think.
Where's that at?
The two between the transfer and
Okay, finalization of land is. is anticipated to be.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, hey, that was easy. If you make
Yeah.
the rest that easy, that's a piece of cake.
I'll do my best.
All right. Good job. We're into easy. You know, I was sick last week, and you don't realize how that affects your mind.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does.
I'm still sick, and my mind's. That's my excuse for
Still
not
sick of the
thinking.
mind.
That's why I'm sick of the mind. Okay, let's go down to. Hey, no comments on the phone. Property profiles, buildings. You've reviewed those, verified their accuracy. It does affect your major maintenance payment. It does affect your operations and maintenance payments and your block grant. Thank you for doing that.
Certainly.
This was highlighted yellow, a very beautiful yellow.
We can eliminate that, please.
What the
Pretty yellow, because what had happened is we had adjusted those buildings out that you are still in the process of handling. So they are in their inventory at this time. So we had to go back and reactivate them. So that second sheet can be deleted.
This whole one
Yeah,
here,
that one.
just delete it like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so no building leases. That's good. We have our enhancements. They've checked those. Those have to be reported each year to the select committee. So we'll see. Okay. Like to discuss the news crow's nest session. I think we already talked about that, right?
We have. I just don't know if that needs to be considered an enhancement since we're doing it just with general fund and then the land swap. I'm not sure how that needs to look.
Okay, great. So yes, it is an enhancement, and so you just need to grab. You probably know where. Do you know where that enhancement form is on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an enhancement above and beyond the adequacy standards, and so if you fill that out, pass it on to Steve. He'll work with Paul to get something ready for a commission meeting, and they can submit that commission for approval. You can wait for. Is there any other? It's kind of like a non-cost to you guys. Is that correct, or is there? You said that maybe you'll have to pay just a little bit extra on top of the land in order to cover the cost.
Right, but it will be minimal as far as all that goes.
And is that pretty well predetermined right now? You know how much, or is that kind of dependent upon the final project?
We have an estimate.
Okay.
But of course, it's going to depend on how how it all flows out with the building.
Okay. All right, and then I think this is kind of stuff you had said, Amber.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good there.
Yeah, that just captured what we had to do and how we readjusted, and we're in the process of waiting till it follows through before we can change it back.
Yep.
Okay, good there?
Okay.
So I think you could probably, even with the estimate, we can always finalize it later, but you can do that at any time.
Okay.
Okay, appropriations. Yeah. I almost feel like I'm missing a part here. And why is that clear up here? That's really interesting. We've got something completely out of order here for some reason. Let me look down and why we have it clear up there.
Appropriations.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Appropriations.
Yep. Okay, I'm still sick, okay?
Right.
That's my excuse the whole way. You guys don't have any capital project remaining money from your project, therefore there's nothing to discuss. Great. That was easy.
Yep.
Steve, security.
So basically what we're looking at here is a list of security remedies In 2014, of course, the legislature approved $9 million in security money that was divvied up amongst the districts, and it was tagged to be spent on the highlighted 8 features. That was the only allowable spending. You guys, by virtue of being in a brand new build process, were not included in that appropriation at that time. However, there is current legislation to approve an additional $4.9 million in security capital money. That decision will be made next year. If that goes through, then you will have a portion of that $4.9 million allocated to your district, and that money is going to be freed up to be able to be spent on any of the 20 security remedies. It's not going to be limited to just the 8. So,
oh, that's great. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so if that goes through, then you'll have a little bit more security capital money coming, and you'll have some more freedom on how to use that.
Yeah, and the word "if," it's so funny. You know how it is, Kay. You think someone's going to make it through the bill, and all of a sudden it either doesn't make it at all, or it's a completely different morphed idea than you ever thought it would be.
Yeah, so we'll cross your fingers and hopefully that'll go through. Now, in addition to that, the legislature approved a couple years back, 2016, they approved for you to use 10% of your major maintenance money on safety and security issues. Now, this money's not tied really to any of those. It can be used on any of those security remedies, and at the same time, it's a little bit different than regular or enhancement major maintenance, because with this 10% security money, you're actually able to add features and do some different things that you're not able to do with regular major maintenance.
Right.
We see you've taken advantage a little bit of that. One thing that it's important to note here is that it does not look like this sort of appropriation is going to be continued beyond what it is existing at this time. What that means for us is we got to be real careful and watch your remaining 10% security major maintenance. We cannot spend beyond that amount because, again, there's no guarantee that appropriation, future legislative appropriation will take place to refund that. So we'll just work together and make sure that we work real hard on not going past what you have left in 10% security major maintenance. But if you guys have some things that you want to do with that, I'm happy to work with you on that.
Okay.
We'll also kind of point out grant funding is available from different places. Homeland Security has these type of grants. Department of Justice has these type of safety and security grants. So as we move on into the future, if future appropriations aren't made to help you guys out, there are other avenues that you can pursue to do that, and that would be something you guys would do on your own. But I think we're in good shape. Let me know if you have any questions or if we can work together on any of this stuff.
Okay, will do.
Okay. You know, I used to have a theory, Kay, that if you build, they'll come. So I'm kind of curious as we look at your capacity. And of course, you've got about a little less, but you got 46% of your building full. And then if we look at, and so I'm going to put my theory to the test here for a second. You guys got done. When did you move out of into the new one? Was it 17?
Yes.
So anyway, you guys were down in the just below 300. You guys kind of came up upper 300s. Basically since 2014, you guys moved into the new building. 2017 was your first year, maintained 16, 17, and then dropped just a little bit. So I always thought a new building would attract more students. In this case, I don't know if that's correlative or not, because simply, I mean, it may just be the larger, you maybe had larger classes come in and or leave or something. I don't know. That just surprised me. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's just the nature of being a small district. You know, we have ebbs and flows, and sometimes our class, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, and so it just depends on the different classes of the different years, and when kids are coming in and going through, and when we graduate and all that. So we definitely do see some fluctuation.
Yeah.
We've had some fluctuation because of the just of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Well, in the last 10 years, you have an average number of kindergartens at 31 kindergartners, and you guys are pretty consistent for the
Mhm.
most part. More so in the, you had kind of a bumper crop there in 2015. But as you look at your classes, coming up, you did have a smaller one in kindergarten last year. That actually you lost. That's true. You lost 10 students from last year or 2 years ago. You lost 10 students from kindergarten to first grade. That's kind of an interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a function of our locale and that kind of thing. And then, of course, the economy. People had to move and
Okay.
some of those types of things. So, and then, just as far as the capacity, when we built the building, it was a capacity of 542, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you look at the previous slide where it showed 800 and something, I think that's you guys' new capacity calculations. So that definitely changed that. But when we built the building on those capacities, it was 542, if I remember right.
Yeah, and we found in the design process, and actually we've had challenges that it's not generous enough, but we find, 100% of the time, districts are able to design what they need and actually get more students within the design itself for the capacity than what the minimal is for the approved by the commission. So that's good. I mean, it
Right.
just says you guys maximized your opportunities in design, met your needs, and we're able to provide the necessary spaces for your educational program. So that's neat.
Yep.
This is pretty well, this is kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's abnormal. I mean, from kindergarten to first grade, sometimes districts, I don't know if you do that or not, sometimes kindergartners, if they're not developmentally ready, will be held back a year. Is that somewhat what you guys are doing from the kindergarten first?
Yeah, we do have some transition students. We have a preschool that hopefully will help with that. But yeah, there are definitely some kids that are in preschool that move into kindergarten, and then we have transition from kindergarten to first grade sometimes, depending on just the student.
Okay. Are you guys getting it looks like your freshmen, these are fairly typical. I mean, I shouldn't say. I mean, you guys have quite a few students coming in for second and third, but they're usually above 100% in these grades here. But freshman year, you guys are getting, that year usually falls off a little bit. Are you getting students out of Riverton or anything the freshman year for their high school years, or what's that correlation there potentially for?
Yeah, well, and I don't know if it really necessarily speaks to the freshman year. We do have some students come from Riverton. Some of them are here their whole careers. Others do join us in high school.
Okay.
We have different offerings than say Riverton does. So if a student is much more ag based or something like that, they may transfer out here to take advantage of some of those. We have a lot of really good STEM classes, CTE classes, and so that does bring some students from outlying areas.
Okay. Sophomore year, junior year, that's down, and then you guys pick up some more students for senior year in order to graduate. So kind of a typical, I think, pattern that we see across state. All right, that sounds good. As you well know, we always have our statewide capacity list. We have high capacity, medium, and low on this. The high on this, we didn't have all these highs last year, and the reason is because the commission decided to go back to a restricted capacity of 16 instead of 25. So it basically pushed up a bunch of elementary schools that weren't there before up. Casper's kind of interesting, and we put a very specific note on here. They're 300 students down as of October. They don't have 300 seats, but they also mothballed 4 elementary schools. So they're good, I think, and stuff like that. So other than that, just a typical look at capacity across state. I just said you have sufficient capacity for your enrolled students. Think that's safe. No charter school. You know what the FCI is and the condition assessment. So I think we're good there. I was thinking I saw one of your buildings on here. Maybe not. On the end.
If we do, it's going to be our bus garage.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call it in there.
Okay. So your buildings, obviously, you've got a beautiful building. Congratulations, that's exciting. Yeah, your support buildings are good, so that's good. District has, I don't know, yeah, sorry. Let me go back down. It just jumped up there for some reason. I just said your buildings are in excellent condition.
Uh-huh.
Major maintenance, always have you update your work order statuses. Thanks for doing that. Here's just some work orders and stuff, work in progress, open. You don't have any 8%. I'm appreciative of that. You do have your 10%. You know what you can use that for. You know what your security, you've been around a long time, so you know what you can use of that. So I think we're good on our balances. That's obviously your 680 report, so I know you know it. Here's you guys is, one of the arguments that we made, taking that 7-year phase in out, was the fact that school districts do have need to use major maintenance from day one.
Right.
And so you guys have demonstrated that in this. You don't have a lot of expenditures, but you have some, and we appreciate you. And of course, it's not just all on your new building. We see you guys also working on your bus garage. So.
Yeah. But yeah, we're very appreciative that came back in too.
Okay, low condition scores. Obviously, we just have to rob your bus garage and get something because you guys have a brand new building that gives us something to talk about. But that's on your, I know, and you don't have a lot of deferred maintenance, and we'll just continue to let you deal with that as you see best. One of the things that we have, since you don't have any 2s or 1s, you don't have to have any district notes or anything. You did do statuses, and we appreciate that. Every once in a while, not every once in a while, every year we have legislators in a committee or two asking us, well, what are these people doing with their money, and are they being responsible? And we just let districts on this part speak for themselves, and if someone asks us, we can send them any facility plan they want.
Sure.
The next facility plan or condition assessment's coming up pretty quick. 2016 was the last one. We're going to go out this fall, put together our scope of work. We're going to go ahead and go out and procure a professional to do that. And then the part that we'd like you, I think Lane or whatever, and I hope you guys send someone, but we always want to train you guys. And we do usually do that in Casper. And it's just 4 hours on a single day, but we'll get that out to you. And if you can encourage your facilities to be there and just to once again review the tool, make sure they understand it, know the importance of when those guys come to assess your buildings, that you have someone, the most knowledgeable person on your buildings, walking with them the whole time, and just help them do a good job. We'd appreciate that.
Okay. And Lane actually is retiring at the end of this year. Resigning.
He is.
So that's why above I have Bo Casper. He's our new facilities.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was kind of curious about that. Okay, good. Is Bo, has he been around a while, or?
He just started here, yeah.
Okay. Where's he? Is he out of Riverton or Shoshone, or?
No, he's out of Shoshone.
Okay. Well, good. All right. Well, we wish him the best, and certainly Lane. And component projects, you know what those are and why they're there, but our list, we had 31 submittals this year for a total of almost $40 million, $39 million, and the committee prioritized those, and we'll present that as an informational item this afternoon to the commission.
Okay.
So I just made a general statement that you're continuing to maintain your buildings with available major maintenance funds.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Legislative session then. Let me push that down. Oh, I know you guys through the, was it WASA website?
Waswell? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys have that tracking. I think they do just an outstanding job on tracking your bills affecting your education. I assume you follow that pretty close.
Yes, I do. I actually have my own tracking too that I kind of make notes on and stuff. So. Cool.
All right. So last year we started doing the same thing on the facility side. I'm sure some of these you already have in there, but we want to make sure some districts do a great job and some districts don't do. They just don't have the resources to track. So we're going to review real quick some of the things that have gone through. Some of them I don't even understand, and usually it's Brandon explains these because he's tracking them. But we did have a major maintenance multiplier. This was kind of a disappointment to us, but just like you, just watch the process. So you know what happened there. We were hoping for more major maintenance, didn't get it. So it's not going to move up to a 2.5%. It's going to stay at 2.0, and we'll just have to live with that.
Right.
There's a public works and contracts, architect to write specifications for products that are available from Wyoming resident suppliers. So I think that it's kind of interesting, and that could affect your FF&E if you ever go out for that. But there's obviously the legislature, the government wants to keep the money in state as much as possible. And so just be aware that that bill's floating through and may have an effect on you down the road.
Okay.
Procurement, you've probably heard about that one already, but basically, and I don't know where it's going to end up, but we're trying to standardize everything from counties to municipalities to state agencies to districts. Get bonding up to 50,000. A&E procurement would be done at 50,000. So anything under that, you wouldn't have to go out for a formal process of the 3 firms and all that stuff. School district construction goes up to 50,000. So you could do stuff with major maintenance underneath that without having to go through the whole process of public advertising and everything else. And then the advertising, just a minimum of 2 weeks, make that consistent. But everybody is doing something different. So this brings everybody in the state kind of under a unified, and then takes those really old numbers and increases them so that they're realistic in today's dollars.
Right.
Education and major maintenance funding. A lot of districts expressed the quarterly payments are going to, you guys are probably pretty good off because you have a new building, and but some districts that those quarterly payments, so basically the state wants to keep that money and earn interest and then put it back into its coffers instead of the districts, and that's that looks like that's moving forward. School finance interfund loans, it's just a way for the school, for the state to do some loans to itself. For the school account and out of the from the stabilization reserve account in order to make cash flow work. House Bill 80, capital construction, that went south. They had like 3 or 4 bills for capital construction, and some have now gone bye-bye, and we still have 2 remaining. We'll talk about those in just a moment. Okay. Construction contracts, indemnity provisions. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe you're familiar with that one. We'll get in our council's review on that one, but we thought maybe it would have maybe some kind of impact for you. So we'll find out. Okay. House Bill 108, contractors' final payment provisions, restructure. And basically modifying final payment and payment contract procedures, updating bond requirements, requiring disputes to be directed to a prime contractor surety bond. What we found ourselves, Kay, and maybe you guys experienced this too, we found ourselves as a state entity as a third party signer to contracts. And you know this, the contracts team, you and the contractor itself. Or the design professional. And we were kind of getting drug into disputes. Well, looking at state statute, what was going on, and I think they've made some modifications, but really these people get bonds for a reason. And when those kind of issues happen, instead of us stepping in, instead of your attorney stepping in and having to negotiate, that's what a bond's about. And that bonding company, that's an important part of their bonding of that contractor, and it needs to be there instead of you guys coughing up money and the state coughing up money to rectify the issue.
Sure.
Underground facilities notification, people were ignoring it. Digging away, so there's it kind of puts some more onus on architects and engineers to make sure that that's part of the contractual agreement and part of the documents that says that they must do that. County zoning, I don't know if you heard, but they're trying to, there's a private school in Jackson, and they went to buy a piece of land, they got it, and then they wanted to build a school, and then the county or the county required them to adhere to the same standards or codes or limitations as any other private entity. And so they worked through their legislator or legislators to change that so they would have kind of the freedoms that school districts would have to do some different things on property that's limited in size and not be bound to necessarily zoning regulations for private entities.
Right.
So anyway, we'll see where that one ends up. That's still in kind of a fight.
Okay.
Government contract labor, I don't know. Let's go past that one. That would be a Brandon thing. Public records, you probably know that they've been kind of going. I mean, they were one time even it would be a felony if you didn't get your records out. So I'm sure you guys are tracking that one pretty close.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that one's. I think it's received multiple modifications. So someone's talking to their legislators.
That one has a big impact all the way from every agency, all the way from. So.
Yeah.
Not like those across the board.
Okay, school safety and security, you know, WDE at this point, the bill goes through in consultation with Homeland Security, AG's office, Fire Marshal, us, will be developing safety and security guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll affect you. Let's see, professional service procurement. Again, this is an effort from the state legislature to make sure that we're using in-state architects and engineers and prioritizing those. It's not just going to be qualifications based, but at least 50% of the contract shall be numerically spent within Wyoming on Wyoming people, and that's a good thing if it works. The problem with that one is what happens if you don't have someone in a specific field of engineering or architecture that can fulfill that need in the state of Wyoming. That's going to be a tough one, and we're a little concerned about that. We're not quite sure where that's going to go.
Right.
Trust land exchange. We don't know where that one is at, but it's basically just trying to trade lands, I think, with the federal government in order to free up some state lands in order to generate more money off those lands to be put towards schools. State capital construction, House Bill 103. Okay, so this one's kind of interesting. You know, several years ago, the construction management on the state side and the school facilities were brought into the state construction department. And then the state side, they report to the State Building Commission, and of which the governor is the chair. And then, of course, we go through our commission, and then we go to a select committee. What this bill, it's kind of interesting. What it's saying is that the select committee is now going to be the who's of the legislature, probably, because it's going to be a select committee for both state construction management side and school side. So everything on the state side for capital construction and stuff is going to flow through that committee as well, and all of it's going to be presented to a single group of people at the select committee.
Right.
A bunch of bills here went south. There, red means dead. And then last of all, the capital construction bill that's moving through has two versions. It's kind of identical, but one's in the House and one's in the Senate, and so we assume that one's gonna eventually yield to the other, and we'll see what that one morphs into.
Right.
All right, so here's so far what remains. As you guys know, down in Sweetwater 1, Rock Springs, they have a satellite high school they're wanting for 17, almost 18 million. That's still in there. They got that alternative school up in Sheridan. That's still in there, 8 million. Over in Douglas, they had 3 modulars that were replaced, and then they had some extra money, and they had this Shawnee modular, which is their last final rural modular. Mouse infestation, and man, I've been in that a couple times. It smells bad. Yeah. It's horrible. So, but you know, it's a country school, right? So what they did was they just asked the reappropriations of the monies left over from the 3 modulars to go over to Shawnee. Doesn't cost the state any more money, just a reappropriation, and that looks like so far that's in there. Charter schools, as you well know, get lease payments. That's for the Montessori in Laramie, and then the past charter school here in Laramie 1, Cheyenne. SFC unanticipated. We always have unanticipated for capital projects just in case things come up that weren't foreseen, and they have the money to finish them. Security projects, Steve talked about the 4.9 million, so hopefully that'll go through. Major maintenance, the RS means was updated, and therefore we're asking for another million. Then it'll be distributed according to allowable square footage and ADM for districts. Any questions on all of that?
No.
Okay. I tried to go as quick as I could.
Yeah.
Okay, so biennial budget. One of the things that has changed in our rules and regs is the fact that, you know how we always had a capacity list, a condition list, and brought those to the commission and then to the select committee?
Right.
So, I mean, our rules and regs are not saying that anymore. Who knows how this is going to turn out, but rules and regs say that every building will have 50% of its score for that building will be on condition, 35% capacity, and 15% educational suitability. We do have a dated educational suitability, and so it will produce one list and be prioritized. So we'll see how that works out, but that's our new marching orders. So we're going to be working on that between now and June.
Okay.
I'm assuming, tell me if this is right, we always ask, you don't have any capital requests for this year.
I do not.
Okay, Kay, you get the kind of the last word. Is there something that we haven't discussed that you'd like to discuss before we end our meeting?
No, I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Okay, staff?
Kay, just want to say thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you for your help too.
No problem.
Okay,
You know,
thanks.
Kind of new.
Yeah, Amber works really hard, and we're gonna miss Charlie, but we'll get him replaced, and within 5 years we'll have that skill level back up.
There you go.
Okay, hey, thanks a lot. Take care, and look forward to seeing you in person again sometime.
Thank you all. All right. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.